Vladimir Putin, ever since his ascension to president of the Russian Federation, has served as an important figure on the world stage for several years and has attained a lot of influence. While no one actually knows Putin's exact net worth, some have theorized that he even might be the wealthiest person on the planet. Welcome to 9-Figure Life, your place for daily motivation and inspiration. If you want to be part of our giveaway, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment the hidden message. If Donald Trump is considered rich due to living in a $100 million apartment, we have to also take into account that Putin lives in a $1 billion palace and owns a $500 million yacht, which puts him in a higher level of apparent wealth if we base ourselves on these amenities. Putin helped the Russian economy grow for 8 straight years. And after serving as prime minister under Dmitry Medvedev from 2008 to 2012, he also publicly announced he would be seeking a 3rd term as president. Putin cultivates an outdoor, sporty, tough guy public image, demonstrating his physical prowess and taking part in unusual or dangerous acts, such as extreme sports and interaction with wild animals. On top of that, back in 2007, he once published a huge photograph of a bare-chested Putin vacationing in the Siberian mountains under the headline, "Be Like Putin." In 2007, he was the Time Person of the Year. In 2015, he was number 1 on the Time's Most Influential People list. Forbes ranked him the world's most powerful individual every year from 2013 to 2016. He was ranked the 2nd most powerful individual by Forbes in 2018, only behind China's paramount leader, Xi Jinping. So yes, with so much power and influence, it's safe to assume that Putin has a lot of money in his bank account, along with a collection of luxurious assets at his disposal. Now, we'll go ahead and describe some of these. According to the Kremlin, the Russian president earns around $133,000 a year and lives in a small apartment. However, if you see a picture of Putin and his lifestyle, you might obviously think that this is a complete lie that doesn't even match how Putin's life apparently seems to be. Former Russian government advisor Stanislav Belkovsky estimated his fortune is worth $70 billion. Hedge fund manager Bill Browder, a noted critic of Putin, claimed it was more like $200 billion. A fortune that enormous would place him high above Amazon founder and currently richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos, who remains at $150.2 billion. The reason why Putin's net worth is so confusing is because he most likely obscures his net worth using proxies in his inner circle. However, due to pictures, leaks, and other trusty sources, we've managed to pin down some of Putin's assets in order to better estimate how much we know that he owns. According to Russian opposition politicians and journalists, Putin secretly possesses a multi-billion-dollar fortune via successive ownership of stakes in a number of Russian companies. According to one editorial in the Washington Post, Putin might not technically own these 43 aircraft, but as the sole political power in Russia, he can act like they're his. In fact, United States website polygraph.info publicly stated that there is uncertainty on the precise sum of Putin's wealth. In April 2016, 11 million documents belonging to Panamanian law firm Mossack Fonseca were leaked to the German newspaper Süddeutsche Zeitung and the Washington-based International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. The name of Vladimir Putin does not appear in any of the records, and Putin denied his involvement with the company. However, various media have reported on 3 of Putin's associates on the list. According to the Panama Papers leak, close trustees of Putin own offshore companies worth $2 billion in total. The German newspaper Süddeutsche Zeitung regards the possibility of Putin's family profiting from this money as a high possibility. As president of Russia, Putin's official residence is the Moscow Kremlin. However, he spends most of his time at a suburban government residence outside of the city called Novo Ogarovio. On top of that, he reportedly has access to 20 different palaces and villas, the most controversial of which is the so-called Secret Palace. This was reportedly built for Putin using illegal state funds. This is a massive mansion built overlooking Russia's Black Sea coast. It was originally conceived as a modest holiday house with a swimming pool. It now boasts a magnificent columned facade reminiscent of the country palaces Russian czars built in the 18th century. The massive wrought iron gates into the courtyard are topped with a golden imperial eagle. Outside are formal gardens, a private theater, a landing pad with bays for 3 helicopters, and accommodation for security guards. This secret mansion supposedly cost $1 billion to build. It includes grandiose bedrooms, opulent wall art that resembles an ancient Italian cathedral and not an actual residence, giant spider chandeliers, and other amenities that we're not privy of yet. Boris Nemtsov produced a dossier claiming that Putin owned multiple private jets, helicopters, and yachts. He even alleged that of the 20 state residences that Putin had access to, 9 were built during his tenure as president. On top of that, Putin was also accused of owning 58 different types of aircraft, including a Dassault Falcon, which seats 19. One of his planes was said to have an $11 million cabin fitted out by jewelers, and that the toilet cost close to $100,000. This plane has room for up to 186 passengers. Putin is accused of owning 5 of these. Putin has a collection of 4 yachts, each costing thousands of dollars to maintain. Russia, one of his yachts, was upgraded in 2005. It reportedly cost $1.2 billion to do. The Graceful, another of his yachts, reportedly sleeps 14 and has 6 bedrooms. Roman Abramovich, one of Russia's richest men, also gave him a 57-meter luxury yacht worth $35 million as a gift. The yacht was called Olympia, and there are reports of Putin running it using state money. Putin has been photographed wearing a number of expensive wristwatches, collectively valued at $700,000, nearly 6 times his annual salary. Specifically, Putin owns an A. Lang & Son turbograph perpetual pour le mérite, which costs $500,000. Putin is known on occasion to give watches valued at thousands of dollars as gifts to peasants and factory workers, as we will later explain. On top of that, a $1 million Patek Philippe going up for auction in July 2017 was also said to be owned by Putin. Accompanying documentation claimed he was the owner. The president reportedly owned 5 Blancpain watches at one time, but gave away one to a Siberian boy while on vacation, and another to a factory worker who asked for a keepsake. The watches were reportedly worth $10,500 each. Ben Judan from Newsweek also reported that Putin uses very lavish brand-name clothing, citing Valentino as one of his favorite suit makers. This was further confirmed by a Russian government-owned paper called Russia Beyond the Headlines, which confirmed that Putin prefers Kiton and Brioni as brands for his suits. These are made from start to finish by a tailor, take dozens of hours to complete, and each have a starting price tag of $5,500. Though considering his watch, yacht, and private jet collection, that's pretty much pocket money for the Russian leader. However, being aware of paparazzi, Putin has planned ahead to avoid being detected. Putin has a stylist who's been dressing him for over 10 years. The stylist rips off all the labels from his clothes, so these do not accidentally catch the eye of journalists or paparazzi. Smart move, Putin. Smart move. Despite this, he was seen with a Loro Piani silk and cashmere blend sweatpants that cost $1,425. Putin teamed this with a matching top, making the outfit cost $3,200 in total, which, once more, is pocket money for Vladimir Putin. The final nail in the coffin has to be back in 2007, when ex-Kremlin official Stanislav Belkovsky claimed that Putin had a $40 billion fortune hidden away in Switzerland and Liechtenstein, making him the 4th wealthiest person in the world at that time. Anyway, despite Putin's best efforts to conceal his billionaire fortune, there are many who have estimated him to be even richer than Jeff Bezos, and thus, even richer than Donald Trump or other world leaders that compete for the position. Do you think Putin might actually be that rich?